This red thing you see on the desk here, that's a Sinclair Spectrum clone that I built by hand. But it has some issues, so I'm trying to track it down.
Sinclair Spectrum, what is that?
Well, it is a British home computer from England. Here's what the keyboard looks like.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they're computers that were really popular in England in the early 80s. This particular one, this is a real case from a real one. The board, however, is one that I built myself.
Wow.
I bought it as a bare circuit board, and I've totally built it from scratch. And it's got a ton of chips on it.
So do you kind of like make your own systems and stuff? Because to kind of an example, back in the days, I had somebody, I tried to get him to upgrade my Commodore 64 to 1 megabyte at the time. And he said he was going to do it. Of course, he never got around to it, but do you think that would even be possible? Because I bought a kit, and it said you could actually upgrade it to 1 megabyte.
You can, but it's not possible in the way you think it is. You'd have to use a technique called bank switching. An 8-bit 6502 CPU has only got a 64 kilobyte address space. So anything beyond 64 kilobytes has got to be bank switched. And basically what that does, you have to set up a register that you can write to that will swap different portions of RAM in and out of the address space.
Wow. That does sound complicated.
I've got one of these things. That's a 1541 Ultimate.
I've seen those.
But what this has built into it is the capability to emulate what they call an REU, a RAM expansion unit. And basically, this thing will give your Commodore 64 16 megabytes of extra RAM.
Oh, wow.
But it's not actual RAM on the bus at all time. It has to be swapped in and out.
Hence the bank switching.
Exactly, right.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't the 128 use bank switching?
Yes, that's exactly how the 128 does it.
Huh. I never owned a 128. I just read it one time. I was like,
well, there's a 128D back laying up against the wall. You can just see the top of it.
Wow, how many do you have there?
Geez. That many?
I've never seen
Those
so
are all
many
64s.
Are they all working?
Yes, every one of them.
I've never seen so many in my life. It's like
this one here, that's a 128D. Or a 128, I'm sorry. This thing here, that's a 128D.
I see.
This is the keyboard for a 128D. This thing right here, it's a separate keyboard.
I see.
Yep.
You've been saving them for a while, obviously.
I've been going crazy. That's what I've been doing.
Pretty much. Man, I only own
this
two
is
myself.
my little workstation here. I've got piles of cartridges. Here's my awesome monitor. It's like a professional, like TV studio broadcast monitor. The reason why I use that is it handles NTSC video signals, which is what we use here in America. And it also accepts PAL video signals, which is what they use in England, overseas, Europe, those sorts of places. More than a few of those Commodore 64s of the floor are actually European models. So there is some slight technical hardware differences between the two, between a European and an American Commodore 64.
Interesting.
Yep. But yeah, let me see if I can swing this thing around. I got you on my little Samsung tablet here. This little setup here, this is my laptop that's hooked to my Zoom floppy, which is right here underneath my EEPROM burner. That's my Zoom floppy I put in a little box I custom made for it. And I've got two 1571 drives hooked to it.
Wow. You remind me so much of the guy I knew back in the days. I walked in his room, and he just had piles of computers, PCs, every Apple computer, all kinds. He fixed all kinds of computers. I was like, wow, this is like a shop or something.
Yeah, just about. Yeah, look at this. This will blow your mind.
You probably know what the reference manual is, right? He owns like a
Oh
gigantic
yeah, I've got all the
schematic
schematics and
reference.
everything.
Yeah.
This is just some of my Commodore 64 spare chips.
Man.
Yeah, there's everything you need to build a Commodore 64 in there.
I would imagine. Some of the ones I took out of my unit to fix the other one, because that's what I was telling you, one of my Commodore 64s, it doesn't even turn on. I mean, it turns on, the light, LED comes on and everything, but the screen doesn't come on. And I tried all the power adapters and nothing. I think you were probably the one, or somebody said maybe the chip got burned out because there was no heat sink on it.
Well, there's a couple things. The original Commodore 64 power supplies, they're 30-some years old now. And the issue with them is a Commodore 64 runs on two separate voltages. It runs on 9 volts AC, and it also runs on 5 volts DC. Now, the problem with the original power supplies is they used a little tiny 5-volt DC regulator in them. Now that they're 30-some-odd years old, the power supplies internally, they're encased in a block of epoxy. It's a solid brick inside of that power supply. They put the board and everything in there, and they fill it to the top with epoxy.
Wow. The
problem with that is for 30 years, that thing's been switched on and getting hot. And that epoxy block does not let the heat out like you think it would. So invariably, that little regulator in there actually ends up going bad. When that regulator goes bad, instead of giving your Commodore 64 the 5 volts it's supposed to, it goes all the way up to 12, 15, maybe even more. Needless to say, a chip that's supposed to run on 5 volts, if you feed it 15 volts, it doesn't last very long.
That makes total sense. I had so many adapters just die back in the days too, and I used to actually take them over to him and he would repair them. So
yeah, honestly, it's a poor design. They weren't even that great to begin with when they were new. What I do for mine is I run my Commodore 64s and everything off of the Commodore 128 power supply. The 128 power supplies are good because they're a totally different design. They're a switching power supply. They're not a linear regulator.
I see.
Which is it's a far more efficient design. It doesn't get as hot. It can provide more current and power for accessories and whatnot. And if anything was to happen to that type of power supply, if it dies, it just quits putting out voltage. They don't tend to over-voltage your system like the old ones do. The other big problem with Commodore 64s, they've got two major problems. If the power supply that you used on it went bad, it will probably kill the RAM chips in it. Those are a pain in the butt because they're all soldered on there. The other thing is, these chips right here that I'm holding are PLA chips. These are the most notorious failure-prone chips in a Commodore 64. What this chip basically does is it's essentially the traffic cop of the 64 motherboard. This chip is what manages how all the other chips talk to each other, essentially.
Oh, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but your camera's kind of like going right now. It's kind of like I'm looking at the top of your head, kind of.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's because I've got a goofy tablet set up here.
Oh, is that what it is? I was like, okay, it's like looking at your eyes. I couldn't really see your mouth.
Yeah, I apologize. Let me see if I can set this up a little bit nicer.
Meantime, I'll get mine out.
Up in my room and nothing to prop this up with. All right. Dang it, that ain't gonna work either. All right, there you go. That's a little better.
Let's take my other one apart here. Can you see this? I had to get my camera set up so I can see what's going on over here.
Yeah, I don't think you have your camera set up. I'm just looking at myself.
Really? Here. Okay, I didn't even know that. Okay. Let me see here. Dang, do I have to stop this to set this up? I guess I'll just turn on this one.
It should be like the little video camera picture at the bottom. There's like a microphone and there's a camera.
It's in the Skype. Okay, I have it set up. I probably need to release control of this other one because I have a webcam companion using it right now. That's probably why it wasn't working. Now I need to figure out how to get it on here. There it goes.
Hey, there we go.
Awesome. So, I'm going to adjust my camera now too. So this is the old unit I have, and you can kind of see that it was damaged when I got it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used it to take out, and you see it's got one of these, what do you call these protectors, whatever, inside.
They're just foil shields.
Yeah, they don't really do a good job, because this one died. This one I bought on eBay, it was already dead. I didn't know it was dead, I just bought it at a cheap price.
Buy a 64 on eBay, it's already dead before you get it, trust me.
I took out this chip right here, I don't know if you can see which one that is right there.
Yeah, that's the kernel chip.
That's the kernel chip?
Yep.
Because what I was doing is I was trying different chips in my other computer to see at the time if it was going to fix the display problem, but apparently it didn't do
Right.
So I think maybe there's something in here that could have died. I couldn't get
Yeah, underneath that little metal shield that you just had your finger on, that's where the video chip lives.
Aha.
Yeah, so the chip that generates the video is underneath that shield.
So I'd have to like pry this up with a... I don't know,
you have to pop it off, and there's kind of a special way you got to do it because it's got little clips that hold it closed.
Really?
But yeah, you see the two little holes there? There's little tabs you have to bend out of the way.
Do I need a screwdriver or something to do it? Because I don't have one handy.
Yeah, just be gentle so you don't bend the crap out of that lid.
I don't actually have one handy right now. So I'm not going to be able to get to it. But anyways, these are the RAM chips, right, down here? And
yeah, there's 8 of them.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know.
No, they're in a block of 4. Not all of the chips down there are RAM chips. Some of them are normal TTL ones.
Oh, how do you tell which is which?
Well, they'll say 4164 should be written on the top of them.
Okay, see from here. It's kind of hard to see.
Here, I tell you what.
I have to get out my magnifying glasses to look at them because I can't see very good. This one says 1843. Made in Japan. Yeah, right. I see the difference now. The ones in Japan, those are probably the ones.
All right, this I'm showing you here. This is my chip testing board. Every one of the chips on this are in a socket. Okay? Now, if you look, these chips right here that I have my fingers on, there's 4 RAM chips there. There's another 4 RAM chips right here.
Oh.
Can you see?
Yeah, I can see that. That's kind of how these are, too. I guess.
Right. But basically, here's a little walkthrough. This thing right here with the silver thing on it, that's the SID chip. That's what generates the music.
Yep, that one actually labeled, too. I think mine's on...
It should say, yeah, it'll say 6581. The one you've got your finger on right now is the PLA chip.
Is it different in some boards or something?
Sometimes, yeah. But basically, I'll show you what all the chips are on here.
I need to take off the keyboard connector here.
Yeah, this one here, this is where the PLA chip goes. This is an aftermarket one that somebody makes.
Oh, really?
The big chip right here is the CPU.
Oh, yeah. The long one right here.
Yeah, that's the actual CPU.
Yep, that's it.
These are the 3 ROMs right here. These 3 smaller chips. There's the character ROM, the kernel ROM, which is the one you've taken out, and then the basic ROM.
Oh, so they're side by side, I see.
Yeah, they're all side by side right here. These 2 bigger chips on the end are CIAs. These right here are what handle your joystick, your keyboard, your serial ports for disk drives. That's what these chips do.
So it's everything to plug into those panels on the side, I guess. That's interesting.
Yep. That's basically the general overview of what all these chips do on here.
So, about this, do I need this protector in here?
No. In fact, I would strongly recommend you remove it.
Just rip it out or something? I'd have to probably I'd have to take off the screws to get to it.
Yeah, if you remove the board, which be very, very careful because the plastic those screws are screwed into is very brittle and fragile. But anyways, just remove those screws to hold the board to the bottom part, and the cardboard will just come out.
I see. Okay, so I'm going to put this one aside. I want to get to the real problem, which is this one.
All right.
This is the one that works. But it doesn't work, you know? I mean, it only works after it gets hot, it shuts down. I'd say probably in I don't know, 15 minutes or so. Sometimes less.
Oh yeah.
I was going to disconnect the keyboard connector on this one.
Honestly, a problem like that, it could either be the computer itself or it could be your power supply.
I tried different power supplies too.
It still does it on different power supplies?
Yeah, it does. It's kind of
okay, then it probably is something with the computer then.
How dusty this thing is. You blow it, it's like dust's going to fly off of it.
Oh, yeah, they're always dirty.
So, this is, I mean, it's kind of similar to the other one. I don't think it's really much different. You know, I bought them both on eBay. None of these are my originals. My originals would have been better, but unfortunately, I bought those years ago, too early. So I don't know if the problem is in here or if it's...
Well, like I said, if you want some more machines up and running, if you can find a way to get them to me, just pay for shipping or whatever, I'd be more than happy to take a look at them for you and get them running again.
I have to figure out how
all those machines that you've seen in the floor, at least 2/3 of them were broken when I got them.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, I fixed Commodore 64s for everybody.
So, what I mean,
I don't think it's a job or anything. For me, it's just a hobby. And
for sure. And I need to find out if it's going to cost more to ship them versus buying a new one and stuff like that, you know? Like, if I went on eBay...
Problem is, if you buy another one off of eBay, you're going to have the same problems you have with those. If you have me fix one, I can fix it, load test it, put heat sinks on it. You know, if we can get you a solid power supply to begin with, you shouldn't have any more problems out of these machines.
So I should probably discard all my other ones once I get a better supply, because I have like 6 of them here.
Oh, no, don't get rid of them. They're always good for parts or something. I mean, they're not making Commodore 64s anymore, so...
Well, that would be for you. I wouldn't know anything about the parts, so I wouldn't even touch open them.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that, and that's dangerous if you don't know what you're doing there, but yeah, I'd have to find out how much it's going to cost to ship it, you know, and find time to do that.
Well, really, to save money, if you just ship me the boards themselves, that would be the cheapest.
Oh, that's a good point.
I don't need the cases or anything.
Do I need to wrap them in something when I ship them?
Just, yeah, something to cushion them, to keep them from smashing against each other.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, like I said, you could just send me 1 or 2 of the boards you wanted fixed just to have a couple running spares, you know?
Okay. Well, the other one's missing the PLA chip. I know you have a ton of those, but this one is missing the PLA chip.
Yeah, I've got parts. I've got an entire box of motherboards that I've already
I think
repaired.
I'll keep that one so I still have one that's used, and just send you the bad one and try to go from there, I guess.
Yeah, it's totally up to you with it. Whatever, you know, whichever way you want to go with it.
That way, I still got a C64 if I need to use it on hand. You know,
right.
If I decide to. If we get the Zoom floppy working, then I can at least use that until it dies, and send you that one and have you fix that one. I wanted to talk about this stuff.
Now you know a repair guy that can fix your stuff for you. So
that's awesome. I've been waiting to meet someone like that. I mean, so everyone, I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this session. I'm going to break this up into a couple videos, and we're going to learn more about this guy. His name is Mitch, and he's fixing my computers right now, so I'm really looking forward to that. The videos were a little bit delayed getting up here. I basically had other things I was working on, so I'm glad. And then you're going to see part 2, which is where we try to get the Zoom floppy going and stuff like that. Really good, and looking forward to, always I always look forward to your feedback and everything, and please like, favorite, subscribe as always, and I appreciate you guys so much. I'd like to meet more of you out there. Many people on this channel, I've met a few that are into programming, but a lot of people ask me questions, but I don't really know if you're interested in joining with me, because you're just watching. I don't know, from observation, if you have a computer, if you want to jump on, you know, Vice C64 and maybe do a session. Because one of the things I'm going to be trying to probably doing on the side, and I'm probably not trying to task myself with too much, but what I'm planning to do, in addition to once I get the machine language project going on, I'm also wanting to create a basic example that's going to be like a game program. It'll be written by basic routines, and essentially what it'll have is allow it to be converted. There'll be routines beside it, like sys here, like SYS 49152 or whatever, and we'll be accessing basically machine language parameters from within. So we'll basically try to speed up the program. Some of the things I'd like to do. But anyways, I hope you guys like this tutorial. Look forward to the next sessions real soon. Thanks for watching as always.